Hello everybody, this is Bench85. Welcome back to another episode of You Play KSP Reboot. It is early in the morning here, and as you can see, we have a ship being built. That's right, if you didn't know what went on since last episode to this episode, I actually did a live stream. It was quite a while ago, actually. It was right around the time that the Falcon Heavy had its launch, its first launch that sent Starman into space. It was around that time, and we shipped off a bunch of landers to the moon. Some of them did not go so well. That live stream is archived. Shouldn't be that hard to find. Otherwise, if I remember, I can put a link in the description. But I did a few more off camera here. I've got a bunch of science that I want to spend, and then we'll get on with what we want to do today. So I've been looking through this, and I'm not really sure what I want to do. No, that's not true. I want to do scanning tech, because it gets us some of these other science modules. This one does science, run atmosphere analysis. Survey scanner can do discovery science bonus of 10. So we got science there. We've got a whole bunch of scanning here. I'm not exactly sure. That has to be done at a max altitude of 1,000 meters. So that has to be landed. This does observation data. This is a greenhouse thing. So we're going to get a bunch of science out of it. So I want to research this guy. It's also going to open up to us eventually the advanced science here, so that gives us the gravioli detector, which we'll do at a later date, the convertotron, all these lovely things. I'm trying to see what's in the last one. Narrowband water scanner, narrowband water scanner. I don't know what the difference is for those two. So that gets us down to 153. So we can't do any of these because we need 160, but we can do one of these first ones. So we either got space exploration, which gives us the hitchhiker storage container, which allows for, let's see, multiple Kerbals, 4 Kerbals on orbit. It also gives us a mobility enhancer, which is basically an easy way of saying ladders. And then we've got some rover wheels, which doesn't really help us. But I think what I want to get into is this guy, aerodynamics. I want to start being able to build more with planes and hopefully not kill our Kerbals. So I think I want to do that. So that gets us down to 63. We will wait for those to establish themselves, because this is going to get us now into supersonic flight. Gives us a bigger fairing to work with, which is good. Some afterburning turbofans, the Mark II cockpit, which is pretty cool, as well as the Mark II cargo bays, stuff like that, and then also gives us advanced aerodynamics, which gives us the really big fairings, as well as some more wings. So that'll be important to get to. I do wonder. Oh, that gives us a little bit better landing gear. Oh, we should have done this, because this gives us the better landing gear. So when we get up to 90 again, we'll have to do that one as well. So that gives us everything we need here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to accelerate time until our spacecraft is built. We're also going to look at, we need to get the other one built too, because we want to launch them around the same time here. So we want 6 days here. So oh, we just got 10 more science, 74 points now. So what I want to do is accelerate this out until it's about, oh, we'll say like 1 day or so out, maybe a little bit less than that. Maybe somewhere around 90% here. Actually, we're gonna have to wait till Let's roll this out. And then we're going to go to the morning. And we are going to launch ourselves our first spacecraft here that has a decent amount of provisions in it, as well as, what are we slowing down here for? There we go. Here's the morning. Next morning. So this one's going to be 2 hours behind, which is perfect. So if we go to launch here, well, Jebediah is obviously going to be the first one to take off. Who do we have? So if I do this and I fill Bob Kerman, so we don't want Bob. Is that all we have? Oh, and then we got Bill. And we got another pilot here. Ooh. I forgot that we had another. See, we have another scientist. Valentina's still around. Okay, so Jebediah. Jebediah is going to launch the first of this iteration. It's the Kermini 1. It's going to be an interesting launch launch profile. It's kind of going to be a very vertical one. But can we transmit? Oh no! I don't have comms on here. Well, I guess we're gonna have to make sure we just collect everything and ship it out. So, without further ado, we're gonna make sure we're not accelerating too fast here. Jebediah, are you ready to go? He says yes. And I'm gonna switch over to old me here, or new me, for the launch here. Alright, here we go on a launch. This one I had to be careful with because it would accelerate very quickly. We also got to make sure we do a very vertical launch because the second stage after the boosters run out here is a little low on power. So I'm pushing that apoapsis up as far as I can. There we go, release. And then we start tipping it over and basically chasing the apoapsis up as far as we can while trying to get some sideways speed here. And it's a bit of a balancing act if you've ever done it, if you ever play it. Underpowered rockets are a little bit harder to get up in the air. But this one isn't too bad. I remember some old playthroughs that I did where I had some really underpowered stuff, and you kind of had like a 50-50 chance of getting to orbit or coming back through the atmosphere before you get enough speed. So this one was working pretty well. There you can see we just crossed apoapsis. We still got a little ways to go, so we didn't chase it far enough, and now our periapsis is positive, and there we go. We are in orbit. Perfect. Unfortunately, I realized something very important. My electric charge just keeps dropping. Why is that, you might ask? Well, I didn't put any solar panels on it, which is a big deal because I want to be able to run this thing around and around in space for a little while. So what I did is, well, I was seeing here, warp to complete. I don't have enough time. I only have a few hours. So we scrap it, and we launch a new rocket. I brought the other one back, obviously, because Jebediah is going up again. So this one has an antenna, so we can communicate back if we need to, and it has solar panels, so it's the same launch profile, pretty much vertical. Although this one I want to push the apoapsis up a little bit higher because it's easier to catch something underneath if you got a little higher orbit. I think I was aiming for somewhere around 125 originally. I think I ended up getting it around 130 here. This profile was much better. I stayed vertical much longer. That's why the apoapsis did push up over 100. But trying to control the apoapsis so it doesn't climb too high here. I think I still had a minute till apoapsis, so I'm doing really well. Yeah, I actually cut the engine a little bit because I was going too far. I would have kept pushing the apoapsis further away and climbing and climbing. So there we go. Kick out the solar panels and we're ready to go. So now we got a second launch here with our new pilot. She's brand new at it, first flight, so let's launch. It's a sunrise launch. You can see we are about opposite side of the planet as you can be from the other ship. So we're gonna have to play some catch up here. So we're going for this vertical launch, and I was kind of playing around with the camera, just trying to get some neat shots of it. This game is so beautiful. There we go, pushing up through the atmosphere. Second stage running. One thing I was doing on these that I did not do previously, I'm not sure I mentioned it, is I was running what they call asparagus staging, actually, where there was a fuel line that went from the outer tanks to the inner tank. And what that does is it drains the fuel out of the outer tanks first. You drop the outer tanks, and then the inner tanks are completely full. It's a way to stretch fuel out a little bit, make yourself efficient, because you're not lugging around dry or dead mass, basically. You don't want to carry things that you don't, want to take to space, obviously. So unfortunately, you see my periapsis is, or my height above terrain is actually falling. I shallowed this one out too much. We're still going to get to orbit here, but it was not ideal, I'll tell you that much. So now I'm trying to correct it here, burning radially, and I'm pretty happy with the results. So now it's time to switch to old me and do the docking procedure in real time. Alright guys, I'm bringing you back in. We officially have two ships in place now. We have Kermini 1 and Kermini 2. I put Kermini 2 into a lower orbit. You can see I was actually falling for a little bit there, but it all worked out in the end. And the best part is we actually have power and communications abilities. So we've got a real ship now. Now, if you didn't figure out what the significance of the name was, it's designed to be like the Gemini program. Gemini program was our first docking program that we had. So the reason why they're in different orbits is the lower orbit will catch up to the higher orbits. So if we start speeding things up here, this ship should start catching the other one. Basically, we're going to be going in for a docking procedure here. We just gotta... Oh, I can't accelerate any faster because I'm below 120,000. That's why usually when I build space stations and stuff like that, I'll push them up a ways. Maybe to like 250, 300,000 meters. Because then you'll get much higher warp speed that you can utilize for catching up, slowing down. So it's going to take a couple orbits. And that's actually pretty normal for our space station. Looks like everything's going good. We got oxygen, water, and food on board here, and then we got a waste container. Didn't know if I actually needed the waste container, but I figured it wasn't a bad idea to have it. I know the capsule has some built in already. So we can see we're starting to catch up. We're only about 90 degrees off. Basically what we're going to start looking for is a course to plot that will allow us to reach it on an orbit here. So we'll accelerate and then try to meet it on the other side of the orbit. pretty much basic standard docking procedure. And I figured I'll do this docking procedure with you guys in real time so you can see how everything goes. To be honest, I haven't docked a ship in a long time, but I still know how to do it, I hope. I think we gotta get about right here, distance-wise. We can go a little bit further here. We're getting there. It's also a test of the life support system, because it's something that I haven't used yet, really. Our satellite array is working well. We do have 90 science, so we can learn that one set that we were looking at. I don't remember which one it was now, but I know we can do it. So I'm going to slow down here. I want to pull out a course. So if I go here, and I want to set this guy as our target. So our ascending node, descending node, we're a little bit off. But we are connecting here. So you can see our closest approach is still a ways out. Actually, what I can do, if I do that, oop, too far. So it's a short burn. We're looking at 33 meters per second burn. So if we go to the next orbit here, you can see they get really close. So now it's just a matter of dragging it around. Like so, until we get separation of 7.3, 6.2, 9.6. And I think what some of this is, why it's not working, is we're off on the plane by a little bit. Yeah, so we gotta go. I give it a little bit of up. Now we got 4.2, 3.4, 3.9. So let's try slowing down just a little bit. 3.6, 3.3. I don't really need it super close, but it is kind of nice to get your approach nice and close. 2.3, 1.6. We are going to get it really close, aren't we? 1.4. I can't complain about that. So we've got a maneuver node in 42 minutes. So let's scoot around here and get to our maneuver node. I think I'm actually going to ditch that stage. I'm going to go down to the small stage. It doesn't make sense to stay or to keep the big stage on. I had to do it at the right point here. Let me turn it around here. You see that guy right there? I do have the distant object. Right there it is. I bet you that's our spaceship that we're trying to catch up to. Let's see here. I do want to ditch this. So let's cut it. We'll engage the next motor. So now all we got is our little spacecraft here, which is perfect. Oh, nope, sorry. Stability assist. I forgot that I was stuck on prograde. I gotta get used to the pilot controls. Okay, so we're looking at a 3-second, very quick burn coming up here. Yep, right there it is. We're 90 kilometers out. Alright, so let's stick it there. Let's do our burn. And engine cutoff. Perfect. So how close did we get? 4.9. So if I accelerate just a little bit more. Nope, we're going the wrong way. Okay, let's spin around. Just trying to trim it. 2 kilometers, perfect. I'm okay with that. So the biggest thing you need to know now, if you're looking at catching up to a spacecraft, is we can't be in orbit mode. We need to be in target mode. What this is showing is our relative velocity, and also our markers are based on this object here. So right now we're traveling 182, well, it's dropping, kilometers, or meters per second, I should say. What we're going to want to do, let me slow down, is we're going to want to be on this retrograde marker. So we are traveling this direction relative to the object. So we're going to swing around. We're looking for closest approach, which is going to be coming here. We're not on the retrograde marker. As you can see here, we're coming in on real time. This is 4 kilometers. We're flying at 50 meters per second. So let's try to bring it in a little closer. We can decelerate very quickly. So our goal here is basically to kill all relative velocity. And basically we're going to become stationary. Just like that. Okay. So now what we want to look at, let's turn it here. So this marker here is the direction of our target. See, we're pointed straight at it. So now what we want to do is basically thrust our way in that direction. We want to line up our markers for now. That's pretty good. And because of our relative velocity, or relative closeness, I think I don't want to go much more than about 10 meters per second difference. It is going to start changing, but you're going to see that the spacecraft is going to get closer and closer and closer here. So now we're ticking down. I'm actually going to adjust it a little bit here. Try to bring us towards it. Because remember, this is the purple is the actual object, which direction it is, and the green marker there is which direction you're moving. So we want that to be right on top of each other, or at least close to it. Unfortunately, we're going to be coming in on the dark side here. Might be harder for you guys to see, but for me, it doesn't really bother me because I'm doing it all by the numbers. So now we're going to go retrograde again. Oh, I forgot that we still got everything connected on this one. So basically we're zeroing out our target speed again. No, we are going to be coming around to the sun side here. So we should be pretty much non-existent as far as speed towards the target. So I'm actually I'm not going off of the nav ball right now. I'm just kind of orienting myself the same as this, because I know that I need to get on this side because the docking port's over here. And actually I'm going to shut down the engine right now. We're going to switch to RCS now. So now we have the ability to thrust in all directions. So I'm just using the little thrusters here to change our direction. And I'm going to shift it to docking mode. And then I need to get, let's see here. Oh, this way. Okay, so I want to get a little bit closer, because we need to find this docking port right there. Okay, set as target. And now I need this guy. Now we can see what we're doing. So this is the docking port alignment tool that I've utilized many times. Oops. The RCS was going a little bit nuts there. Okay, so I want to orient like that. And we want to change our target velocities here. Oop. Ah, that's why we're going in different directions. Let me get my targets here, facing the direction I need it to be. Okay. So how this works is we want to align things. Oh, no. Slow down, buddy. Oh, no, we're going the wrong way. Okay. I had to remember how to use this alignment tool. So this part right here is the center where we want to be. Why is this not making sense? Oh, we need to be in this quadrant. Okay. So you can see these alignments here are where we need to be vertical and horizontal. So we need those to be lined up in the center as well. So they are moving in now. This shows our direction. We got our distance. So now that we're coming in, you can see the lines are moving. So we want to try to get this velocity vector into the center here. We're getting there, we're getting there. It's like an orbital dance. Slow it down a little bit. So we've almost got it lined up exactly where it needs to be here. Trying to get those green lines centered. Okay, so that's pretty darn close. As you can see, we're almost lined up. I'm going to turn the RCS off. Go back into staging mode here. Let's try to line this up exactly where it needs to be. Right there. So now we're perfectly aligned. I'm going to go back into docking mode. And you can see we are off just a touch. So I want to bring it down. And then we're going to thrust in. And just like that. We're docked. We have two spacecraft connected together. We have two pilots. How about that? So I'm going to turn off that. So that, my friends, is a successful docking mission. Our first two spacecraft docked in orbit. Let go, Jeb. Oop. There we go. Let's try to get her lined up here. Oh, nope, I want to go like this. I want to face him over here. Oh, that's right, it's going to realign. Let's see here. There we go. How's this for a shot? Yeah, Jeb, isn't that awesome? What a great view. So this is a big step in our space program. It allows for space flight, obviously, long-term space flight. We're going to have to work on our space station here pretty soon. I'm going to be working on stuff like that. But the biggest thing is we have the ability to dock. We have the ability to build ships in orbit then. We get to do a lot more fun things. So the next mission is obviously going to be trying to get boots on another surface. And I think the moon of Minimus, the satellite of Minimus, is going to be our first target. But with that, guys, thank you all for watching. And as always, take it easy.